the to the bread previously on hours 0 through 25. I started the game from scratch, and at this point, I started to gain a kind of understanding of the game and the core mechanics. I realized that what I got good at from min-maxing the game, where I tried to learn one skill, was strafing. And at this point, I learned that to get better, I needed to focus on aim. So as you can see here, I did an aim training. So this was probably one of the worst things that could have happened to me. I got decent at comboing. And at this point, I really enjoyed the first 25 hours. However, the next 25 hours were going to be nightmarish for me because this is when I had to experience getting humbled. And so this first duel was the first times that anyone ever said easy to me. And so this duel went pretty well. I mean, obviously he kind of like wrecked me because crit, I didn't really know what to do at the time. And as you can see in the chat, he said easy. And from my reactions, I just start laughing. Because at first it's just like, I can't believe these kids like take this game like, who's gonna go out of their way to type? You know what I mean? Like, that's so childish. Okay, maybe later it happens. But it just goes through. And so I started playing, and this was the second day after, and I started feeling myself. You know, I had some of the mechanics, some of the crits down, and overall, I started to enjoy the game because I felt like I could start to win, and kind of in a big margin too, and I wasn't always such a close battle for every single win. And so now I found this bot called Theobald the Bot to practice with, and you could kind of see how bad my aim was. And I wasn't really training as isolated on one skill as I do in the future. And as you can see, it's going to stunt my growth and it's not really helping me. But moving on, I just do more duels. And at this point in time, I I'm just playing to kind of play the game. I'm not really training anything specific. I'm just going off raw instincts. And so this win was the first win where I had a close win. It's kind of nice. And now this guy, this duel kind of taught me how to uh, fight crit spammers and how to adapt. So in this first duel, you can see I lost, and in this next duel here, you can see the adaptation I make. I really space him. I try to juke him out and then hit him. I realized one of the most important things I found out in hour 30, and that was that every player is good at one of two things at the start. They're either good at critting, like this guy, or they're either good at like juking and spacing. Now, once when you get further along and get better, this changes. But at this time, that is what it is. And here's where it is, bro. I'm sick of it because at this point, I took a 5 day break, and this was the worst decision ever. You can see I took like an even longer break than that, and I become a typer, bro. This is the worst type of people, bro. I mean, like, come on, bro. It's not that deep, man. And so I'm down so bad. I'm literally killing people who are like frozen. And so this was my biggest ego arc. As you can see, I'm asking if this guy showered. It's like, bro, it's not that deep, bro. But you know, people get invested, and it's part of the process. Now, this guy with Protection 4, coolest name I've ever seen, by the way. This was my first real comeback, and this comeback made me feel confident and have fun in the game. But at this point, I was still was coming off that break, and so I was still like just getting destroyed, even though previous days before I feel like I would have won games I didn't. And so this was one of the first duels I had with one of my viewers, and this one was just a fun duel. It was really close at the time, and I choked a crazy thing, and I panicked under pressure. And this was the first duel that I lost by zero point 0.1 HP. And so AK Doomlord 11 was the first ever Twitch viewer I dueled, and this guy was 12, by the way, and he was giving me whooping, bro. Score is 7-20, and he was just destroying me, bro. He was in class, and his classmates were watching him, bro. Bro, That's what I knew. I thought about packing it up, bro. But it was fun. And now we enter the most annoying phase, bro. Getting punched to death. Oh my god. This was another one of the viewers, bro. And he was low tier 4. And he told me he was more around like high tier 4 level, which is a little better, but not a lot. And this dude just beat on me, bro. This was about hour 45 into the challenge, and I felt like I've regressed so far, there was no point. It's like time to pack it up. If you could see my aim, my timing, everything, I'm just getting like socked in the mouth. Like, punched to death, made me want to punch the monitor. But it's kind of when I realized that like there's levels to this game. There really is. And so after that, I went to the training ground. Like I got beat multiple times very bad that I'm like, okay, if I'm going to improve, I know I need to practice my aim. I need to practice my 3 hit time spacing because that in itself is one of the most important things, especially with my style. As you can see at the top, the highest block hits I can get from the 0 to 3 blocks is 3 blocks. And that is what I kind of went for. And from the training, you can see how it paid off. I started, getting some nice combos on this guy, and I really did see the fruits of my labor. Obviously, the aim still was not there, but the hits itself, like the range, was getting better. And this was when I started to like kind of drop the ego a little bit and just focus on the game. And I knew from this guy's like rage quit that I had a chance, bro. If I just kept my head down, stopped with the typing, and got to work, that I could have a chance. Now, this was my best clip on this guy towards the end of my 50 hours. I did really well at just sidestepping, comboing, uh, really felt myself.
Ooh, enjoy the
Pause.
montage, baby.
But it ended up working out, and I did really well against him and beat him. And that
Sid, we
at that point, I started feeling myself a little bit. It is what it is. You can still, have fun playing the game, but it was just a great experience overall. And so, rounding out hours 25 through 50, I realized that for me to get better, not only do I need to focus on aim and just the core mechanics itself, I need to stop worrying about what other people are typing to me. I need to not type to other people. I just need to lock in. Because the moment that you stop worrying about other people, the results, and only on what you can improve as a player, that's when growth accelerates. And you'll be able to see that in the hours 50 through 75, I start focusing on it and I start improving at a rapid rate. And this, as soon as you get past that point, that's when the game becomes fun. And so I hope that you enjoy this episode, and in the next one, you stay tuned because that's when I rise again from the bottom of the dumps, typing to players, just being a nuisance and almost rage quitting probably around 5 to 10 times. I rise back again. And so I hope you enjoy, and I really appreciate if you guys stayed to the end. Have a good one. Peace.